Part 2. Let us know what you thought. Hey, give us your thoughts on Married at First Sight Reunion Part 2. It was a wild, wild episode. A real wild episode tonight. We started off with Zach and Michaela from last week's show, where Zach didn't want anything to do with what Kevin Frazier was trying to cook up. Kevin Frazier was trying to cook up a lot of mess. I blame it was mess because Michaela had her time, Zach should have had his time, and there shouldn't have been any inclination of him trying to bring Michaela onto the stage. There was
he did the same thing with Michaela. He asked her about bringing Zach out, and she was just adamant, no, I don't want him out here. So he did the same thing with her. It just went differently with Zach.
Yeah, when she came out there, he stayed back there. He stayed put. He stayed in his seat. There was no need for her to come out on stage, and you didn't want him to come out there. You didn't want anything to do with his presence. So stay your happy-go-lucky butt in the back. You sit there and spew whatever you wanted to spew.
We know they're two different people.
Yeah,
and he's got more restraint than her. He wanted to come out there too. He just did not do it. So, in her nobody could have stopped her or held her back.
But they didn't learn. They should have learned this from last season or the season with Chris, that there should be some type of security or something there to prevent this from happening. It could have went south. I'm not saying it did, but it could have went south. He could have been like, yo, just irate. He did get up and leave, and it took him a minute. I'm interested to see how long did it take for production to really actually calm the situation down and really actually get Michaela to leave off the set. There's some things that we didn't see on that part because it didn't like, oh, she was just talking and she just happy-go-lucky left. I'm sure it was some jawing back and forth between the two. Let that man say his piece and say his side of the story without her being involved. I mean, I just wanted that to happen. If you're going to be fair across the board. As soon as she came out, somebody, production, Pastor Cal, Kevin, somebody should have stopped her and said, you know what? Nah, we're not having that today, Michaela. You got to go back there and let that man tell his story. You know? So when Zach actually got to the point to tell his story, there were some holes that, you know, Michaela said and to what Zach said. Zach said they got into it after decision day. Then after decision day, she was a little tipsy. She got mad. She got upset. She broke the window to her car, and he didn't want her to drive like that, so he decided to let her go to his place and stay there. She said 7 to 8 days. He says more like 4 days. He did say he did get intimate with her, and that's when Kevin was like, well, don't you think you sending mixed feelings if you got intimate with her and you told her that you didn't want to be with her?
Well, when she said that when she was on this, and I'm sure this is the holes that you're talking about. When she said that on the stage, he was backstage looking like,
But he was just the number of days. We all know Michaela couldn't boil water, so how can she cook?
Well, but I'm talking about the intimate. When she commented on all of that, and he was backstage looking like, no, that's not true.
I mean, he did say that's not true, but he admitted they got intimate. Kevin was like, okay, don't you think that's sending mixed feelings? He was like, mixed signals, mixed signals. And he was like, no, I don't think it's sending mixed signals.
Zach is not that slow. He's just not that slow. Yes, it's giving mixed signals. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Zach, I'm not on your side on it. It's giving her mixed signals. You sleeping with her, and you taking her in, and you feeding her. You letting her stay in a nice warm bed, and just to have sex with her, it's sending mixed signals, bro.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing. I mean, I can't defend that. When you're wrong, right, you're right. You're wrong, you're wrong. Zach, you know what you're doing. You're sending mixed signals just so she can pleasure you. I mean, it is what it is. You're sending those. That's what he's doing. He's sending those signals. So he got upset at Kevin. Like, I don't understand why you say that. Look, you sending mixed signals. Zach said he don't believe that Michaela ever really loved him. She told everybody she loved him, but he said he does not believe she ever really loved him.
A mess. I think you can love somebody and not be in love with them. When you love somebody, like having care and concern. I believe she did have care and concern for him. And cared about what happened to him, and yeah.
But she told everybody, I mean, she was telling Rachel and the girls that she really loved Zach, that she was the one for her.
Right.
And so I think Zach is looking at it this way. Zach is looking at the behavior, what she's saying on camera and what she's saying off camera, and what she's actually doing, and equating that to, you don't love me because if you love me, you would do X, Y, Z. You would do love what I. You would love me if you love me. You would do what I asked you to do. If you love me, then you wouldn't have Hurricane K. If you love me, we wouldn't be at each other's throat all the time. So I think that's what he's equating love. And Michaela's saying, I love you because I'm not Hurricane K 24/7. I am trying to maneuver. I am trying to change. I am trying to do different things. Why don't you let me love you? You know, from that sense. Zach mentioned that Kevin asked him a question. He said, Zach, do you think you played with Michaela's feelings? He said, no, I don't think he don't think he played with Michaela's feelings. He said, Zach called Michaela a flat-out liar, and he don't want to have nothing to do with her and her childish conversation.
He played her. He did. Again, you're sending mixed signals. I'm sorry, y'all. God took on my throat.
Did he play her? I think
sending mixed signals.
He played with her emotions. I think he did play with her emotions. He played with her up and down, her emotions. He in 1 minute, out the next minute. He like her this minute, don't like her this minute. He want to take her dancing here. I want to hang out with her. Want to eat here. Want her to meet with his brothers there. I think he played mixed signals. I don't know if his mixed signals were, I'm trying to make this work, or I'm just going to go through the moment, or again, I'm going to try to do this so I can get in the sheets with you.
I'm doing this to get in the sheets with you. Which he probably didn't even have to do that because, again, we know that Michaela had
butt buddies. Yeah. You know, Kevin asked Zach, what are you doing now? Zach mentioned that he is focusing on him, and he's open to marriage, but he's kind of shying away from it.
He should, because he wasn't ready to be married.
He said he wants kids, though.
He ain't ready to be nobody dead either. That's just my opinion, and I'm welcome to my opinion.
You're welcome to your opinion. He goes on to be condescending to Michaela. Says she does look nice. Again, sending those mixed signals after they have an issue, having those problems. He sends the mixed signals. You know, Michaela, you do look nice. Like maybe one last time. That's how I'm feeling, Zach. Is like maybe if I say the right thing, maybe one more time we can go ahead and knock. I can go ahead and handle business. But he said they can't be cordial. He doesn't want to deal with her childish conversation, and he doesn't want anything to do with her whatsoever. They don't want to be in the same place. None of that. But he did go on to say if she needed something, he will be there to help her out. He said it
don't have nothing to do with me.
He said he
just period.
He said,
if you pass me stranded on the side of the road, just keep driving. Don't do me no favors. Call somebody for me, but don't stop.
But you understand, Zach is the guy who wants everybody to like him. Zach is the guy that he wants people to appreciate him. He doesn't want to say anything bad about anybody. He wants to be like, so therefore, if he still wants to be friends with Michaela, he still try to be friends. I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it's wrong.
But he just said he don't want to be cordial.
But he said if she need anything, to holler at her. Again, mixed signals. He's been sending mixed signals the whole time. I didn't expect, even on the reunion, for his mixed signals to stop. He's been sending mixed signals the whole time. So Zach sent mixed signals even when he was talking to Kevin. And you know, Kevin asked him the hard questions, tried to dig into him a little bit. And Zach just wanted to keep it, tell his side of the story and let it go. I do wish that they both were on a stage together.
Right.
I do wish that we would have gotten both of them, not necessarily arguing back and forth, but just having some grown folk conversation, or him, like as Dr. Pepper suggested one time, she talks, he listens, then he talks and she listens. I wanted to see them together, at least together, to have that conversation, which maybe on Where Are They Now we get that, but right now we don't have that.
Right.
We don't have that. Then we go into Bao and Johnny. We go into Bao and Johnny, and Bao and Johnny both disagreed that they should have worked on their relationship. They both disagreed that you know what, it's fine. We're done with it. It's over with. There was no need for us to work on it anymore. Bao believed that even over time, that it could have not worked out. It wouldn't have worked out. She just believed that it was two different people. Do you believe that?
No. I don't think they're too different, but I just think they're both too probably set in their ways. And Johnny was just not. Well, he goes into that a little bit more. You know what actually happened, what he felt like happened, that he couldn't be himself.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny said he was surprised about the ups and downs, and he had an idealistic way of what he thought marriage would be, and he realized, you know what, it was unrealistic. It was unrealistic.
Duh.
Johnny had a list of what he wanted Bao to be, how he wanted Bao to be, where he needed Bao to be, what he wanted to look like, how the marriage should go forth, how the conversation should be, how she should look at him in the morning, how she should do things in the afternoon and things in the evening. And he had this whole big view of what their marriage should be. And when it hit him in the face that it wasn't what he wrote down or what was it on his list,
and he wasn't flexible. He couldn't adapt.
He couldn't adapt.
And so, yeah.
He couldn't adapt. And then not only couldn't he adapt, he started to blame Bao. And I think that was one of the biggest issues too, though.
Well, his thing, he always said that it was like he was made out to be the bad guy. That's what he tried to say. I'm like, well, I mean, I guess y'all kind of did it to each other, but I feel like he did it to her more than she did it to him.
Yeah, Johnny goes on to say that that they don't see each other out. I mean, when the cast do meet up, he kind of not. The only time they see each other is when the cast meet up. So it's not like they're trying to be around each other or be with each other, even though they're married. He doesn't want nothing to do with Bao. It's like the reunion, not the reunion. It's like the ranch trip all over again. I'm fine not even seeing Bao. We're not even going to try to work it out. We're not even going to try to have a conversation. We're not going to do anything if we meet up. And I know those meetups are kind of awkward, though. To me, it will be awkward. This is my wife that we're trying to meet up. We're trying to be together. And we don't have anything to talk about. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. And everybody see us together. Everybody asking. So, Kevin goes on and asks the question, what were the times that you really did enjoy in your wedding? What did you, not in your marriage, what did you really enjoy in marriage? Johnny goes on to say, you know what?
Like the homework assignments.
Johnny said he really enjoyed the homework assignments. He said, we saw that on Unfiltered. He said the homework assignments challenged him. Mm-hmm. The homework assignments challenged him and kept him and Bao closer together. He said he really liked the one when they go on and show a vignette of the one that Dr. Viv gave him when they had to dress up. They said so behind the scenes stuff, and so with Bao giving him a massage and rubbing his back, whole lot of extra, and then she going on to say, you know what, I like to get in those pants, take them pants off, and Johnny said, well, you can take everything off. So they had some moments. They had some moments where you thought Bao and Johnny were going to be successful, that you thought Bao and Johnny were going to make it. And those are some moments that they try to take. Johnny said, again, Bao said what she thought was the most enjoyable part of their marriage. Part of their being together was their marriage. She said the marriage was good. The wedding, the ceremony, when they had the tea ceremony. Was the tea ceremony and their 1 month anniversary. Mm-hmm. They were good moments that they had. I think Bao and Johnny they couldn't get out of each other's way. I think that was the one.
And out of their own heads.
Yeah. They couldn't get out of each other's way and couldn't get out of each other's head. Bao said she could not pinpoint when they went south. She felt she was just being judged early on in the relationship. Right. That Johnny was judging her early in the relationship and that she couldn't go do anything without Johnny pinpointing or picking at her or making her do different things. And we saw that early on, even when it went to the snoring.
Oh, yeah.
From the snoring to
he picked with her so bad about that.
The body pillow in the middle.
Right.
About the showering. The showering, they talked about that a little bit later in the reunion. Yeah. I mean, so she felt like she couldn't do anything right. The shoes at the door or all the things, the way that she cooked and what she was cooking. And she just felt like, you know what? He wants to put me in this box and want me to be so perfect that I can't be that way. I can't be in this box that he wants me to be in. She felt that way. She felt that he was judging her early. Johnny mentioned that he think it went south before they talked to Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper. Mm-hmm. That it had gone downhill quickly. That before they had that conversation with Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal, that he was ready to give up. That he was going to go into that. He was going to go into that meeting with Dr. Pepper and say, you know what, I quit.
Right.
I give up. Let it ride. I'm done. to me,
I told you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll let you go.
I told you, and they should have done it in this season like they did in some other seasons, where that was actually a point, a midway point. Like, are you still in it or aren't you? I don't know why they. I was glad they started it. I don't know why they stopped it. So they got with all the couples, but they really didn't go there. Like, are you still in it? Because you can leave.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't realistic. I don't think it made sense at that point because if you give me an out, but you really don't let me have an out. You see what I'm saying? You're asking me, can I leave? I don't think they would really give them an out at that point in marriage. I don't think they would give them that out. That's why I think they stopped that because somebody was going to take them up on that offer, and they were like, okay, what do we do here? What do we do if this person really say they want an out? They're not willing to work on it. I do believe you, and I agree with you. If they would have gave Johnny that out, he would have been gone. That he would have took that out, and I think some of the other husbands would have took that out. It depends on the time you'd have caught Ryan. Ryan would have been gone.
That would have been fine.
Ryan might have been out. Definitely, if they would have gave that option this season to Zach would have been gone as well.
Based on no, I don't think he would have. Based on his behavior and how the glowing review he gave Michaela, except for the fundamental way they handle conflict, he wouldn't have left.
But again, Kevin said that was a mixed signal as well because he was giving this review of Michaela, and then he's saying no on decision day. So I think depends on the day or the hour, even the minute they would have asked Zach, he probably have been like, you know what, I'm in, and I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. But even when Johnny talks about how when Bao came after she met Pastor Cal, she felt a little bit more energized and more, like she was willing to try, and which made him feel like he was willing to try and willing to keep this relationship on. I do think at that point she was cheated. She was on the fence,
right? But
he couldn't bring her over to his side to where she wanted to change things or she wanted to. Now, I don't want to say use the word perform, but get right. The way it was at. So this is what I think Johnny and Bao need to work on. Johnny felt like he couldn't speak. This is the biggest thing out of that whole conversation with Kevin with talking to them. Johnny said he felt like he couldn't speak his mind.
Because what he said was, basically, Bao was concerned about her image. They had a whole conversation about the fact that they wouldn't talk about certain things on camera. They had so many conversations off camera. He felt like to the point where their actual relationship did not show through in what was filmed because we had so many conversations off camera. And so Bao was like, just say it. And what she said was, I didn't want to talk about our sex life on camera. There were certain conversations that I had to keep in mind that my family might not feel comfortable about. I considered their feelings in it. And so, yeah, we did have these conversations. But Johnny said, but you scripted the conversations, basically. And she was like, well, who doesn't go into a serious conversation and actually think about what we're going to talk about? And, kind of run through it. And he was like, me. And she was like, so you just fly off the cuff? And he was like, yeah.
Well, I think he thought it was scripted. I mean, I think he thinks she actually wrote this bad boy out.
She might have.
We know. I can almost guarantee she did.
She had a spreadsheet for what she was going to pack. So I think she did write it down.
She did write it, but you can't tell me what to say in this conversation, though. I feel him on this. Like, you can script it what you're going to say and your points and like that, but don't script how I'm going to respond or say.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely what she did, and that's another reason why, because he wasn't predictable, is why she didn't want to have those conversations on camera.
Right. Because he's not predictable. I mean, Johnny was here for, I'm not saying he was here for the start. He was here for the process, right? Because later on they talk about who missed filming, and Johnny was like, I missed filming, right? Mm-hmm. Johnny wanted to do the whole aspect of Married at First Sight. Johnny wanted filming for, if I'm going to be on this show, let me be on this show. Let me film me on this show, because we may have footage. If this thing works out, our marriage is documented. So we have something to show our kids, our grandkids, our great-grandkids. I want to have a good time. So don't, in other words, this is where Bao put him in a box. He feel like Bao put him in a box because she wouldn't allow him to be him. Remember, Johnny was the life of the party. Johnny was fun. Johnny was outgoing. Johnny was the one who wanted to do spontaneous things. So now when you tell me I need to be scripted, I don't need to come off the cuff.
In serious conversations.
But
that's what she said.
But in most marriages, in serious conversations, it comes off the cuff.
Well, the other thing that he said, and she agreed, he said that Bao expressed to him that she has social anxiety. And so that's another reason why a lot of the conversations they didn't have. And he seemed kind of understanding of that. And like I said, she didn't deny it. So you have to keep that in mind, when you're having these conversations and things that are being filmed. Because she doesn't, and a lot of people say this when they do Married at First Sight. They're not the only ones. It's like, you realize how much scrutiny you come under from viewers and fans and stuff, and people can pick you apart. And she didn't want to get picked apart. I don't blame her. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna blame her because she signed up for it. You read it in the contract. You know what you signed up for. If you have social anxiety, don't sign up for Married at First Sight. If you don't want people to pick you apart or be in your DMs or talk about you each and every week or different things, or like we're doing now, don't sign up for the show. It's not like this is the first season or they're the first guinea pigs. This is 13 seasons in. So you know what you're getting into. So I don't buy that. I can't get with that program. Yeah, you try to create a narrative. That's why you had last season Clara and Ryan try to create a narrative. If you're gonna be on here and be who you are. That's why people are mad with Mirla. Be unapologetically who you are, and she didn't care who she was. And I know people that don't like her, but you can't deny that she was. I know you don't like her. You can't deny that she wasn't who she was throughout the whole season. And so you have Bao, and I can see why Johnny said she was flipping up because you this way on camera, this way off camera, and Bao said that, well, I'm this way with my coworkers, I'm this way with my family, and I'm this way with you. So she admitted to that she's different people with.
Well, she didn't say I'm different people. What she said is different aspects of her, and we're all like that. Everybody is not like. You're not going to be your full goofy, crazy self necessarily with your coworkers. You're going to be more business with your coworkers, especially if your coworkers are just your coworkers and not your friends. I dare say a lot of people that I work with will be like, oh, man, I didn't know you was crazy like that. Not literally crazy, but like funny crazy. What?
Oh, no, you're not crazy at all. I don't know what you're looking at me like that for. I didn't say you was crazy. I wouldn't have been with you for 20 years if you were crazy.
No, that's why you always, because you know I'm crazy. You can't go.
No,
I'm kidding.
I go somewhere, but nah.
It's jokes. But yeah, so I mean, what she was trying to say is this different aspects of me. It's not completely different person. And he tried to make it like you're a completely different person. And again, with her social, and I'm going to go back to a comment that you made. With her social anxiety, she probably is going to be more stiff and stuffy, when the camera's on. Again, because she's got social anxiety. And mind you, not even just with the fans, but with the people there. And I get what you're saying, that if you know that's you, why come on a show? Because the show's been going on. Because she wanted to be Married at First Sight more than she wanted her social anxiety to hold her back. I think she probably just didn't realize how much it would give flared up. But a lot of times we negate or we try to push aside feelings that we have or issues that we have because we want this thing so much more. And so I think that was the case with her. She wanted to be married so much more than she wanted her social anxiety to get away. But when she got into the process, and she's not the only one, it's been other seasons where, people kind of dealt with that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And so once the cameras start rolling, I think AJ had that problem too.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, AJ from Philadelphia had that same problem too. He was, I was like, gosh, I don't like him. He's a little bit better now when they on couples cam, but I still don't really care.
On his own terms. Brandon was like that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Doing the cameras in his face, and I totally understand it. But I said the same thing about both of them. Like, why sign up for this? This is not season 1. You know what they're gonna be cameras. They explain these things. You sign this, and you understand. there's some things that Bao didn't mind her social anxiety because, again, if you worried about the sex thing and you wouldn't be massaging Johnny, dressing up in the nurse's outfit, doing all those type of things, if that was really a big thing.
But her thing was that she didn't want. Okay, it's
her coworkers can apply.
Actually talking about it and giving those. That's what she said. Giving these intimate details. That's what she had a problem with.
I understand the intimate details.
That dress up, that's not intimate details. But I'm not going. We're not going to get into smack it up, flip it, rub it down.
Yeah, what is it?
She didn't want to talk about
basic vanilla sex. Isn't that what he said? The Beth said basic Caucasian sex.
Yeah, he said pretty vanilla.
Pretty vanilla sex. So she didn't get into the whole aspect of how she. Yeah, I understand that, and I wouldn't expect him to get into that part on the show. I mean, there's some people who have.
He said he wanted to be like
again,
all the way real.
Johnny wanted to be real. Johnny was here for the show. Johnny was here, not that he's an actor or anything, but Johnny was here for the whole experience of Married at First Sight. So he wanted somebody to be with him for the experience of Married at First Sight, so that we're going to go through everything on Married at First Sight, and whatever they give us, whatever assignment, whatever, I'm going to be a good sport. I'm in for the whole game. I'm doing exactly what I need to be done. One big thing that Johnny said, he said trust was lost because he thought Bao was fake. And we know that if you lose trust in a relationship,
yeah, you can cancel Christmas.
You can cancel Christmas. And he had lost trust in her. Because we saw that with the, when they was in a restaurant, he was picking the flowers apart, where she said she made gourmet meals every day. And he was like, no, she don't. Again, he felt because she was being fake around the whole couple.
But he wasn't, though. That got exposed, too. Because then he said later, when he met with the experts, that his thing was she doesn't make them by herself. Mm-hmm. We make them together. So Johnny's just as fake as he say Bao was.
Johnny said he felt like she was isolating him, that she was putting him in his box. He said he felt isolated. Again, goes with the friend. What's her friend, Susan, or whatever her name was? What's the late that Bao was like this black? Any man that she's with, she sucks the life out of him. Mm-hmm. And so Johnny was kind of saying, you know what? I felt isolated from my friends. I felt isolated from my family because I was doing everything trying to please her, and it was like was sucking me. I felt like I was losing. He felt like he was losing himself. That's why he had to go home, and that's why he had to not stay with her for the last 2 weeks leading up to decision day, because he felt like she was just draining him and he was losing himself. And Bao went on and said, no, it's like you put yourself on that island. You put yourself on that island, and I just let you stay on the island. So guess what? It is what it is. I mean, I guess it's kind of almost like Michaela and Zach. Go, don't go. Go, don't go. And when I do go, is a problem. Mm-hmm. And when I don't go, there's also a problem. And I think that's where Johnny was at, like, what do I do? Because Johnny felt like he was in a no-win situation. He felt like he couldn't win with Bao either way. If he said the sky was blue, no, it's gray outside. If it's sunny, nope, it's gonna rain later. And that's how he felt like. He felt like he was totally isolated. That she wasn't fun. Then they go into decision day. Johnny said he said yes because Bao said if he would have said no, then it was done.
Right. And to her, a no meant over. Finito, kaput.
Yeah. But she said that though when they was all in a little rec room, and Zach was trying to explain his whole thesis on why he was going to do what he was going to do. Bao said a no to me like we done and you don't want me. So Johnny was like, well, I'm not going to say no because I don't want to be done with you.
Yeah, because his thing was that he was hoping that maybe once the cameras go away, maybe once we're not filming, I'll get to see the real Bao. Like she could be her authentic self all the time. She won't have to put on. And so he was willing to try that. And he was like, maybe that's why I'm not feeling her, because this person with the cameras on is not the real you. Right. So his thing was, because he was going to actually do like Zach. He was going to say no, but then still try to date her until she said, if you say no, I'm done. Not fooling with you.
I'm not fooling with you at all.
And so that's why Bao said when she came to decision day, her decision was no. because she was like, I didn't expect him to say yes. It's no, so it's a no for me.
And Johnny really wanted to see what it would be like without the cameras on. I'm gonna say this, and I said this on a previous one. They need to do 2 weeks without the camera and have decision day. I'm sorry. Let it go that way and see if some of these people, because again, if it had not been for Hurricane Katrina, if it had not been for COVID-19, not Hurricane Katrina, I'm going back. If it had not been
it was in New Orleans.
It was in New Orleans, but if it had not been for COVID, Miles and Karen would not have made it on decision day.
Right.
But because they had COVID, had the extra time to spend with each other, and were able to do it without the cameras, they connected even better and allowed them to stay married. So I think that's one of the keys. That's one of the things that's a key for them, is that you might need to do a little bit. It's an experiment, right? So sometimes change the variables in the experiment. Make this experiment switch up a little bit and change the variable and allow it to be a week or two without the camera. That's all I'm saying. Johnny said he just wanted Bao to acknowledge his concerns. Address my issues. Understand that I'm hurting right now. Address what I'm saying, and I want you to know that, you know what, I'm not feeling it right now. I'm hurt. And she couldn't do it. She couldn't do it. And I think that was one of his biggest issues. At least just address my concern. I think that's in any relationship. Address what I'm going through. Acknowledge me. Not like Roman Reigns, but acknowledge it. I'm the tribal chief. Acknowledge me. But acknowledge me that I'm having an issue. Acknowledge that I'm having a problem. Acknowledge that I'm having a circumstance or a situation. Acknowledge. And he said she couldn't do it in their whole relationship. Bao said she gave him all that she had. Do you think Bao gave everything?
I think she did. She gave all of what she felt like was, because everybody's got different capacities and get different outputs. So what it is to you may not be somebody else's. So I think in her opinion and her feeling, she gave her all. And I think she did, but he just didn't. Remember, he's got an idealistic view.
Yeah. So
to him, it is not going to be enough.
And Bao said she felt that she was never good enough. There was nothing that she could ever do was good enough. I mean, I when she said that, maybe go back to that episode where he was like, I just want to have sex with my husband. Bao wants sex every day. Or she wants sex 2 or 3 times a day. And, and I'm like, dog, most men would kill for that. And you complaining about the fact that your wife...
don't want it with her.
Right, you complain about the fact that your wife wants to have sex with you maybe once or twice a day, and you complaining. I mean, it just made me think about that. It just made me think about that aspect of it, how he complained about some of the little things that she did, the painting. And Bao complained about little stuff too as well. Like when they did the painting and it didn't match up, and she was more focused on the fact that it didn't match up, then focused on the fact that they were spending time with each other. So, I mean, it's just those little things that made a difference in their relationship that separated them or pulled them apart. Just something that small, whether the picture, you're not enjoying the moment or you are enjoying the moment, I think Bao and Johnny made the right decision. Then I'm going to skip the ladies, the women together, but I want to get to the experts, all right? They met with all the women. All the women met with each other. We'll get to that part a little bit later. Wanted to get to the experts where Kevin asked the expert, were they surprised that the couples were up and down? Dr. Prepper said that she was surprised most about Bao and Johnny and Mirla and Gil. He said she believed that Bao and Johnny was a perfect match, that they would complement each other, that she thought Bao and Johnny would make it with each other, that Bao and Johnny would rise to the occasion and they kind of complete each other. And she thought Mirla and Gil would do the same.
Right.
She thought they would do the same. She goes on to talk about how, Johnny and Bao just couldn't get out of their own way.
Right.
Just couldn't get out of their own way. And how Mirla and Gil just couldn't get over the financial issue. And she talks about that later when she talks to Mirla and Gil. Pastor Cal said she was more surprised that Michaela and Zach, and that Michaela was ready for marriage. That Michaela was ready for marriage.
But the process
was a lot for her.
Yes. the Married at First Sight process and probably the filming and having to deal with somebody probably so different than she had dealt with before. So.
Yeah, and they talk about Zach. Dr. Pepper said Zach was more of a horror than a help. That he should have been there to when Michaela was having blow-ups. Instead of having a blow-up with her, he was there to help her. If they had been dating and they got into marriage, I could say yes. But just to meet you and within the matter of, let's and I think we got to put in perspective what Zach went through as well. Zach went through COVID, right? They missed those days of the honeymoon together.
Right.
And I think we miss out on that part. They missed those days where it was no work. There was no animals, no family members, no nothing. It was just them together on a honeymoon. And I think that could have built their relationship even better if they was able to have all those good moments on the honeymoon instead of him coming back after he got finished with COVID, going to her house, going home, moving in together, and then see her blow up. I think them not having a honeymoon really hurt them.
Yeah, and I honestly feel like it should have helped them. It should have helped them. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, once they got back together, it should have been like, okay, let's start over. But they didn't do that. When they came together after being apart, they really didn't do the work that they would have done on the honeymoon. And
that's where I think Pastor Cal was talking about the process. Because they got to move along. We need you to do this. We need y'all to do this. We need you to go there. I think on the honeymoon, I think production is a little bit more lax on the honeymoon. That is not as strenuous as it is when they get back into the States or get back to real life. That you got to go work. You have to go meet up. Then you got to be on the set or your apartment set, whatever you want to call it, for X amount of hours. We need this footage. We need y'all to discuss this. We need y'all to talk about that. So I think the fact that they missed out on that, it really affected them in the bond they could have had together. We can tell. I mean, Zach never really tried to help her, in my opinion.
That's right, and that's what Dr. Pepper was saying. Instead, he was just like,
he was terrified.
Instead of saying, "Oh, wait, what's going on? What's really going on?" Yeah, as opposed to, "Oh my gosh, this chick is loony." But I like her a lot. I mean, she's an amazing woman. Is she loony?
I think you should. I think, and somebody may get with us and say, "Oh, he needs to be her therapist." No, he needs to be her husband. And I don't want him to be her therapist. I want him to be her husband. Because when you commit to being somebody's wife or somebody's husband, you take the good with the bad. There's some things that they deal with before they met you. There's some things that they had, some issues they had before we got together. There's some baggage. And so he needs to understand and listen to her and listen to what was going on. Okay, how can I help you? Who was that? I think it might have been Vincent and Brianna when it was like, if I'm get like this is how you help me out. Or this is when I get like this is how you calm me down. Or when I get like this is how. I think that works in marriage. When I get like this, I need you to do X, Y, Z to help me to get myself in place or help me to calm myself down. And I think that's a responsibility of a husband and a wife. You know what? Let me help you out. Let me, and even begin to recognize when that spouse is getting to that point and moving them out of the situation, taking them to the car, calming in, stepping in the situation. And I don't expect them to do that after. I mean, that's what happens in marriage.
Right.
So I understand why she wanted him to be a helper, not a horror. Move on. They said they all agreed. They were all shocked by Mirla and Gil, and they all surprised. And they were all surprised. Pastor Cal said he believes Mirla is scared. Mirla is scared.
Yeah, she acted out of fear. In the decision she made to break up and get divorced.
Dr. Pepper said she was offended that Mirla showed up drunk and tipsy. And she said she believed Mirla did that out of fear as well.
Yeah. Dr. Pepper, because they showed that clip, what they showed us on the show, it was obvious Mirla was, tipsy. Yeah. But the clip they showed in this reunion, it was like, man, she was drunk. She was, really drunk.
But she knew,
and she gave her time to sober up, because she was like, yeah, you haven't sobered up yet. And so they gave her time to sober up, and she said she was offended because how could you come drunk to this serious conversation that we're sitting down having? And so she was like, she kind of like felt disrespected, like, why would you do that when we're gonna have some conversation? But she also said the other thing that was like disrespectful to her is, here you give me this glowing image of how you feel about Gil, and he's so this and he's so that, and then you don't want to be with him. Where'd that come from? And she brings that up when they come out, because later Kevin is like, he's gonna bring some couples out so the experts can kind of talk to them, or the two couples that decided to stay married, and see if they can work through some things. But yeah, she was just like,
yeah,
it's not right.
It's not right. Pastor Cal and Dr. Vivian talks about Bao. They believe Dr. Vivian believes that Bao has some underlying anxiety, and that Bao thinks things out. Pastor Cal Pastor Cal believes it's not manipulation. Dr. Viviana says kind of a little bit of manipulation and controlling, and that's why Johnny felt like he was in a box, because Bao was manipulative and controlling. Pastor Cal says not manipulative, and that Johnny needs to see the other side of where Bao was coming from.
Right.
So
there was a whole lot of that.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of them seeing the other side. They talk about Jose has anger issues, and he needs to work on it. and he was controlling. We all know Jose had anger issues, and they need to work on it. When I was listening to the experts, I'm sitting there thinking, like, you guys didn't know this stuff, like, in the pre-screening. You guys didn't know this stuff when...
Oh, no. Not in the pre-screening. Of course they don't know it in the pre-screening. But, go ahead, finish it up.
But I was like, not in the pre-screening, but even when production will bring this up, like, for week 1 or week 2, where my question, if I was Kevin, was like, well, if y'all knew this, how come you didn't step in?
And that's what I was about to say.
How come you didn't intervene at this moment? How come you didn't intervene when he locked her out? When they both at the door, where were you at? To intervene the next day and make an emergency Zoom call or whatever and talk about this issue.
And that's what I was about to say. So no, they wouldn't know that, obviously in pre-screening. But as the show is going along, and we've said this before, the experts need to be more present and dealing with these couples, because that's how you're presenting it. Like, the experts match them up, and the experts are there for them to talk to or whatever. But some of this stuff, like you're saying, all after the fact. Now, honestly, Dr. Pepper did say to Jose, when she came to the apartment, she did mention the thing about being controlling. But again, I think, they could have been a little more active, with these things that they're pointing out now.
A little bit, yeah, definitely a bit more active with the things pointing out. When they actually meet with the couple, the first couple they met with was Jose and Rachel. Mm-hmm. All right, they met with Jose and Rachel. And Jose admits that marriage was tough. He didn't think, when the cameras went away, he didn't think it would be that tough.
He specifically said, I have to give props to Pastor Cal, because Pastor Cal's thing is, if you follow him on social media, it's like, marriage is not for punks.
Yeah, marriage is not for punks.
It's not for the faint-hearted. It's not.
Yo, if you're not married and you are married, you're a man or woman, and trust me, that is the true statement. Marriage is not for punks. You got to have a little bit of tough skin to be in marriage. You do. It's not for punks. There's going to be some rough times. So Rachel mentioned that moving into Jose's house, which we all said, right? We all said, when you move in with Jose, when you leave out of this apartment with Jose, who had already tried to kick you out of an apartment that he don't own or he don't have, that doesn't belong to him, that when you move into his house, it's going to be a challenge. Mm-hmm. And she said when she moved into the house with Jose, it was rough. Rachel said it wasn't a lot of fun, and she was ready to move out quickly. Mm-hmm. She said she left and went back to her mama's house. Yeah. And Jose mentioned, he said that hurt him. He shared that he realized at that moment when she left, he really wanted his marriage, and that he was willing, and he needed to put in some work.
Right.
And he said he was willing to put in the work. And she said one of the things it was the way they argued with each other.
Yeah, but not just that. She was like, we had arguments about how we argue.
Yeah, argument about how we argue.
You know how each one of them, handled the discussion. She was like, because like overall, they didn't have major issues. It was just they had a problem with how each one of them, kind of like Zach and Michaela, just not that extreme, but they had issues with how each one of them dealt with their disagreement.
Yeah, and they both admitted to being passive aggressive. And we seen that with Jose, that he was passive aggressive. He lied about the bolt on the door, and when she was talking to him, he's still cooking his steaks and rolling them over and being passive aggressive at the same time, being hot as fire, and not trying to lash out. And then sometimes in moments he does lash out. We talked about that. We mentioned that. Well, Kevin said it later that they were on a balcony talking about cast members when she called him Johnny. So it's not like they were by themselves. So we realized they was not by themselves.
She was calling the role, basically, going down the list.
Yeah. And having to call him Johnny. Dr. Pepper tells Jose, you know what, you're a great guy, and he needs some professional help. This is where my light bulb went off. Like, y'all are professionals.
Not professionals for that.
You can't help him out?
We're professionals for the show.
You're going to have to pay us anything after the contract, you're going to have to pay us, right? That he needs to watch his condescending tone. He needs to speak with her more to help her and not make her feel like she's a child.
Yeah. They talked about, do you feel like he talks to you or at you? She was like, at me.
Yeah, she feel like he talks down to her. I mean, I think that's always, sometimes it's tone pitch. I think sometimes it's subjective. I think, and I'm just talking for man, sometimes I think men mean it the right way. But it's the delivery that comes off condescending. It's the delivery that comes off harsh. It's the delivery that comes off and makes a person feel some type of way, whatever the case may be. And I think that's where Jose at. Jose means well. I believe he means very well. Even when you talk about the money situation, getting your house in order and doing things, all that, he means well. But the way he says it to her and the way she receives it is totally, like she said, it puts her down, puts her in a bad space. In a bad mindset. Pastor Cal asked him how things are going now. He says, she said we see each other twice a week, and we spend a night together once a week. Mm-hmm. So they're working on their relationship, and they spend time trying to get that stuff together. Yeah. Trying to get the relationship together. When the women meet, a lot of them did not know that they were back together.
Right.
They knew that was a surprise. That was a surprise that they were back together and they were working on it. Mirla is new because her and Rachel are BFFs with Johnny. The three amigos that I want to call them. Michaela was like, okay, cool. It was funny when the girls got together. Michaela's like, I don't like Ryan. Ryan doesn't like me, and I'm fine with that. She took over to talk about that. They talk about Brett's sex life, how Brett hadn't had a relationship or hadn't had sex in 2 years. Mm-hmm. Hadn't had sex in 2 years. And Brett makes it adamant that one of those years was COVID.
Oh, wait, but the way Kevin said it, okay, so they had to put it in perspective, too. So Kevin was like, Brett, you came into this, you had been abstinent, hadn't had sex in 2 years, and do you think it's ironic that you're coincidental that you're the only person that didn't consummate their marriage? Yeah. And she was like, well, I don't really think that's necessarily a predictor, but, it didn't go that way. I didn't intend for it to happen that way. They did, it was Kevin, but somebody else said it first, like, keep in mind, 2 years, COVID happened during 2 years, so you really weren't supposed to be huffing and puffing up in nobody's face.
Right, you ain't supposed to be huffing and puffing.
Huffing and puffing up in nobody's face. And the other thing he asked her was like, well, do you have like a fear or aversion? Was it you didn't want? She was like, no, I'm fine with intimacy. I don't have a problem with it. Whatever kind of intimacy it was, I was open to that. It just didn't go that way.
Yeah, it didn't go that way. It really didn't go that way. I think with her, it's more of Ryan, because Ryan didn't want to sleep with her and break her heart. Because he knew he wasn't attracted to her. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he was trying to push up on her to try to get the draws or get, with his wife, because he didn't want to really. He knew that he wasn't going to be with her in the end. So he didn't want to do that. So and because he didn't push up on her, she didn't push up on him back.
Right.
And it just never happened. All right. We go to Mirla and Gil meet with the experts.
Oh my gosh.
Mirla and Gil meet with the experts, and I know a lot of you out there was heartbroken. Some of you probably even shed a tear. Some of you probably got some dust in your eye. The Kleenex was sitting there. You probably dropped a tear in your collard greens that you're preparing for Thanksgiving. Whatever case may be. Even Kevin, and now we know what Kevin was talking about when he was on social media, talking about, he's proud of Gil for what he went through during the reunion and how he showed himself. Now we see it, and now we understand. Because Mirla and Gil...
It was heart-wrenching.
Dr. Pepper, they showed the clip of Mirla talking all these great things about Gil. Mm-hmm. How she loves Gil. How Gil was God-sent. And how she appreciates the fact that he just takes 2 seconds to make up the bed. And how he just does he sends her flowers, gives her flowers once a week. And how he was consistently doing things for him. And as he said, and Dr. Pepper, if he did all those things... What
happened?
What happened?
What flipped the switch?
Yeah.
Basically, Dr. Pepper was like, I call BS. I call BS. She was like, I was there. And it wasn't one time. It wasn't 2 times. It was multiple times that you said, oh, I like Gil. He's this, he's that, and then for you to come and be like, nah, no thank you.
Yeah.
No thank you.
Gil would choke up. He said, I promised myself I wouldn't cry. He said, look, I'm emotional because
I got blindsided. He said, I don't have a problem with rejection. I want to be with somebody that wants to be with me. But, if you felt this way all this time, you never said nothing about it. And to come, after the fact, he was like, I didn't shed not one tear this whole time. And he was like, now I can't stop crying because, she says, it was finances. We didn't have the same kind of drive. And she said, I didn't feel safe. And I thought she was going to stop there. Because I'm like, wait, hold on. What you mean you didn't feel safe with the firefighter? You didn't feel safe with the firefighter? What did he do to you? But what she said was, once we got together, I didn't feel safe making financial decisions between the 2 of us. So again, and then all that time while she's talking to the experts, that's what she talks about. Then later on, she adds on that, when Dr. Pepper's like, but she was like, I can't pinpoint one thing. Dr. Pepper was like, you're going to have to. You're going to have to explain it. Lucy, you got some explaining to do.
You got some explaining
Lucy,
to do.
you got some explaining to do. She was like, no, you have to tell us something. And that's when she talks about the money, the finances, the drive. And then she tacks on attraction and chemistry. Because before that, she said, I was attracted. It took me a little bit longer. I was attracted to you. All the bull crap disputing what she said to Kevin. Because she said, I wasn't attracted to him.
Yeah. That's
what she told Kevin. But then she starts this conversation like, I was growing to like him and growing to be more attracted to him and da-da-da-da. And then she talks about the finance. Then she thought about it. She was like, oh, shoot, before I said it was attraction and chemistry, guess I better say that.
Yeah.
Right here at the end. That's what it looked like.
And Pastor Cal said something that was so true. He said, the potential growth that you guys could have had. He said, I was broke when I met my wife. Didn't have a dime, but there was potential there. And she saw me, and so we worked this thing together, and look where we at now, right? Mm-hmm. You could work this with him, and I'm not saying be his cheerleader, right? Mm-hmm. Because he's gonna have to get up and play the game. He's gonna have to get if he wants to make more income. He's gonna have to get in and do that thing. But if he knows that he has somebody cheering him on, that entrepreneurial spirit or that spirit to get more growth, or that spirit to move on or do more community things, will move in him. So he may bring the income up to where she wanted to be at and to do some things better. But she wasn't really, it took time, and she really wasn't ready to put that time in to Gil.
Both of them had this same issue. Okay, so I get what you're saying or whatever, but Gil's thing was, I'm not going to be caught up in the love of money.
Right.
I'm just not. And I don't think that means that he doesn't want any advancement, but he's not going to let that be his motivating factor.
His driving force.
You know what I'm saying? So you just encourage him in his level. And same thing for her. Okay, so she is money driven. So you encourage her, hey girl, go after that money. You know, whatever. But also, you know, you want to keep him grounded and say, you know, it's not just about the money. You know, keep that in mind. But it was just, the whole thing was just...
It's about the relationship and the communication with them. And I think they didn't communicate very well. They might have talked about the money, but they didn't really communicate about, this is what it's going to be like when we move out. This is what it's going to be like when we're together. This is what I need from you, Mirla. And Gil, this is what I need from you. How can we meet in the middle to continue to make this relationship work, to make our advancement work? And so I don't know if she really never cared about Gil or she was putting on a show. I think she cared about Gil. Now, some may say the scenes that she was saying that Dr. Pepper showed, she was all drunk and tipsy. Was that the alcohol speaking?
Yeah, but it wasn't just that time. It wasn't just that time.
No, it wasn't just that time. It was
I'm not going to blame it on the alcohol. I'm not going to blame it on the alcohol. Right. You know what I'm saying? But, man, I'm telling you, that thing was heart-wrenching to me because, you know, Gil was really broken. And I just feel like she wasn't sympathetic at all. Somebody said that, just said that in the comments. I agree. She wasn't sympathetic at all. No. At all. Like, I mean, she could have even comforted him when he was talking about, you know, I'm crying, you know, upset. You know, she could have comforted him, you know, like, you know, oh man, you know, it's okay. Or, you know, she didn't do none of that.
Which makes me think it's much more than what they're saying.
It's, in the much more, she's a you know what. That's what the, that, bro, that's what the what.
You can't be that vindictive. Well, you can be that vindictive as a woman, but you can't be.
She's trying not. It's just like Pastor Cal said. She feels this way about him, and so what she's trying to do is she's doing everything she can to try to cut off those feelings, so you know, so she can be settled in where she is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I did it now, and so I can't open myself up to, you know, that vulnerability and comforting him, because then I'm gonna feel, you know, the way I felt before. So I'm trying to talk myself out of those feelings. When she was talking, she said, I was upfront about this in the beginning. I said this from the beginning. I said, yes, you did, but he got emotional because he's sitting there watching this video where she's talking him up to Pastor Cal, to Dr. Pepper, and then you did me dirty.
Yeah.
And that's what really teared him up. He was like, dang.
I agree with Yolanda. You know, Moore said that her inner circle. I do think when she got back after this was over, that her brother and maybe some other people in her inner workings, maybe a Johnny, maybe a Rachel, maybe a Jose, maybe what Johnny, Rachel, and Jose were going through made her really say, he ain't the one for you. Maybe her and Johnny would do the financial thing they'd like to do. Maybe it was other people chirping in her ear who made it. And I think that's why Gil does. They don't want to say. I think it was a lot of other influences. And that's why he was blindsided by this, because she was talking to everybody else and wasn't talking to him. Mm-hmm. And when he found out that she was leaving, everybody else knew except for him.
Yeah, he was like, you know, I didn't know it was going bad until then. I didn't know it was, but yeah.
It's like you got two idols on Survivor. You got the idols, you got some advantages, and you still get voted out. You feel like a bum. Like, I got everything going for me. I got the girl, I got the idols. I'm on my way to this $1 million, and your next thing, your torch gets snuffed out.
Yeah, Dr. Viviana and Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal basically told Mirla, we're not trying to bring y'all back together. Yeah. We're just pointing out that this is something you're going to have to work out before you get into another relationship.
Any relationship.
You're going to have to work it out that, you know, you can't talk yourself out of the good thing. And basically that's what they said. You just talked yourself out of the good thing by making these things bigger. Because it really did not have to be that big. It really didn't.
He was a genuine guy. He's still a genuine guy who cared for you, who gave everything up for you, wanted to be with you, and then you come in one day and 14 days later say, you know what, I don't want to be with you. And he's probably looking like, where did this come from?
And worse, again, not just I don't want to be with you, but you made it like I'm not attracted to you.
Yeah.
There's no attraction there and there's no chemistry. BS.
Yeah.
You able to stop it.
Yeah, very much BS.
I'm convinced. I'm gonna say this and then we can. I'm convinced. She did like him. She does like him, and now she making herself. She's turning it off, so she doesn't feel those emotions. You know, and yeah, I was hurt for him. I was really hurt for him. I was hurt.
Yeah.
Because he's a good guy. I don't, and she never said like he wasn't a good guy. For all, none of our subscribers or viewers, but it was a lot of people on social media like, what's so good about him? She never said he wasn't a good guy. And even on this, she didn't take it back. No. She didn't take it back.
She couldn't get past the financial stuff. So
he's a good guy.
Kevin Frazier meets with all of them. He brings all of them back on the stage. They begin to talk about this Hurricane K situation. What they talk about friends, right? They talk about friends and who hangs out with who. We found out Johnny, Mirla, and Rachel hangs out together a lot. We found out that Johnny was in Mexico for a wedding.
Well, they said it like, and we went to Cancun together, but Johnny clarified it. He was like, I was there, Mirla was there, so we hung out. We didn't go together, but we hung out. And the whole time that Mirla's talking and Johnny's talking, and you know they piling up, bro, I'm looking at Gil's face. Gil looks sick. Yeah. Gil looks sick.
He's sick because he knows there's much more to their relationship. He knows that Johnny likes his girl. I missed that. I was going to bring that back on the tail end because Johnny said he was dating someone. He said he'd been dating somebody for a month when he talked to him and Bao. And then Kevin asked, is it somebody that we know? He's like, nah. He said, I heard rumors about you and Mirla. He's like, nah, that's my BFF. Mirla's my friend. We hang out. I hang out with Mirla more than I hang out with anybody else on the show. Johnny likes her, right? Mirla may just be hanging out with because he's friends, but Johnny likes her. Oh, he wants to be with her.
Even when he talked to Bao and Johnny, we didn't say this. When he talked to Bao and Johnny, they was like, who do you think might have been some better matches? And he was like, oh, me and Mirla.
Yeah, he said him and Mirla would be a better match. And we're going to get to that because that's where they never got to it when all of the groups were together because Gil and Michaela left. But when he was Johnny and Bao, he asked them who they thought would be together. They said Brett and Gil will make a good couple. They believed that Jose and Rachel could stay the same. Even, this is what was funny, they asked Bao, and Bao said, you know what, I think me and Zach will make a good couple. Now, we don't know, at this time, it was 4 months after, I don't know if they had been messing with each other yet. We're going to review where are they now a little bit later, so we'll talk about that in our next review, where are they now. We haven't watched that yet, and of course we're live, so that's on now, so after we do that, we'll go back and watch it, and maybe get a review out there for you guys after Thanksgiving and you can eat. And watch that. We say you can eat and finish cooking. Yeah, we'll get there. And the other couple was Ryan and Bao. They thought Ryan and Bao would make a good couple. And I thought it was funny because nobody wanted to partner up with Michaela.
Nobody.
They didn't pair anybody up with Michaela, which, of course, nobody wants to deal with Hurricane K. They asked Michaela, was she proud of Hurricane K? And she said, you know what? I was fearful and I was scared. They showed a clip. She said, I was fearful and scared, and I was panicking because she was thinking about her father and the way that he left. And they didn't go into this, but she said her dad left mad or wanted to take a drive and got hit by a drunk driver. So when Zach did that, it triggered something to her. And she said sometimes she'd go back and she'd look at it and laugh herself at what happened, what's transpired. But she's not that person anymore. Right. She said that if she wanted to hurt somebody, she would have, but she didn't want to hurt anybody.
Man, Zach's face was like... Because let's say this too, when they were on the stage together, Kevin asked, "How do you feel being on the stage?" You know, she didn't want to be, and Zach was like, "I'm indifferent." And and so Michaela was like, "I'm fine. You know, I'm fine." But she says her whole thing about that instant was, you know, she really was in a panic. Yeah. She really was panicky, and you know, he never acknowledged her actual feelings. She was like, he doesn't care about me. He still doesn't care about me. Listen, and so that went into him trying to apologize and say, you know, I understand or whatever. And she cuts him off, and Zach, in true Zach fashion, shuts down. Kevin tries to say, you know, he's trying to apologize. Why don't you just listen to him and get back to Zach to give you know, let him finish. And Zach's like, nope, the moment's passed. I'm over it.
I'm not mad at him though.
I'm not mad at him either. But I'm also not mad at her because, and I say that because, I mean, what do you expect her to do? She just said you didn't care, and she's gonna feel like you're putting on, you know. And I don't blame him, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, because she said if he really meant it, even if I said what I said, he would still do it. But that's not his personality. If I was him in this space, I'd have still spoke my piece. Because you're not going to do it to me this time. I'm going to say what I want to say, and that's going to be it.
She felt like it was being forced. That he really willingly wasn't saying. Kevin didn't force it. He was really getting ready to apologize. He wants to end the thing. And this is where she has not learned. Shut up.
Yeah.
At this point,
she was smart.
Just shut up. Be quiet. Take the apology and roll on. He meant the apology. Accept it or don't accept it, but allow him to speak his piece. And this is why he didn't want to be on stage with her, because she wouldn't let him talk. Because every time he says something, she's rebutting. And she's going back and forth and bumping heads. Let the man talk. Whether you think it's BS or not, let him speak. And he shut down on her. And he was like, you know what? I'm done. I ain't going to deal with you anymore. Right. Which he doesn't have to. Except for when they sign those papers. So, Ryan went on to say that Gil was talking about being... let's see. Ryan talks about his social media, how he chirps back on people, how he gets back on people, how people get on him on certain social media.
I think it's funny. He's like, a lot of times they don't actually think it's me making comments, but it is me. And like others in the room are like, yeah, we know you do. We know you like to chirp back. Yeah.
You know, Gil gets up and leaves because he's in. When Kevin asked the question, which couples be together? He said, I'm not doing this now. I'm not doing it. So he gets up and leaves.
Well, even before that, though, with the thing with Cancun and a little the interaction between Mirla and Johnny, you know.
Oh, it was doing too much. I think it was extra. I think Mirla and Gil was doing extra on that.
Mirla and Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah, he was just looking like.
Yeah, they were doing extra, just laughing and getting, yeah, Johnny. And then she was setting real, you know, like implying that there was something going on because there was a question that was asked. And he gave the shoulder shrug. He didn't say no. He gave the shoulder shrug. And what do you want this guy? Really, you still with his wife. That's technically still his wife who he loves. And y'all just hop. Nah, come on, man. That dude, I'm a grown man, dog. We ain't gonna do that. I'm a grown Gil was good. He ain't a grown man because I would have said something to him. I really would have said something. You know. I would have said something to him. It was bad. Ryan, after the league, this is.
Well, I don't want to gloss over that.
Go ahead.
I don't want to gloss over that. So, you know, Kevin really almost didn't even get the question out. You know, I talked to Bao and Johnny about who you think would have been better matches, and as he's saying it, Gil's like, yeah, nah, and he stands up. He says, "I'ma head out," and so he leaves, and he leaves everybody on the stage, you know, with their mouth open. Yeah. And the part that really stuck out to me was when Gil left, Michaela was the only person to go after him. And I felt like, maybe nobody else, but I kind of felt like the way they built it up, maybe it wasn't like that. I expected Zach. I would have thought Zach would have got up and went to see about him.
He might have got up, but Michaela got up. He's not going anywhere with Michaela. I'm sorry.
No, I'm not. But I'm saying, like, he didn't even budge. You see what I'm saying? He didn't even act like it's one thing. It's one thing because she didn't get up immediately.
Right.
So it's one thing for both of them to go like this, and then he'd be like, "Oh no, no."
You know why he didn't get up? Because he was already in his feelings behind the Michaela thing. I'm not saying because she got up. He was already in his feelings. He wasn't even thinking about that. He was thinking like, I want to get off this stage. I want to leave this winch right here. Gets on my nerves. And so when that transpired, he wasn't even thinking, let me go after my boy Gil.
Right. I was like, really? I was just, and what Gil said was, he was like, basically I'm an emotional wreck. Yeah. I said I was going to be optimistic. I said I was going to be positive. And he said, my mood's been crappy the whole time. I've been, not feeling it. And he was like, and it wasn't even so much, he didn't even say it was a question. It wasn't even so much the question. It was just that he had his feel. He was like, you know what? I can't do it. I can't do it. And this question is about to be a whole little jokey joke. I can't. Yeah. I can't. And Michaela was like, bro, I get it. She was like, I'm feeling that too.
And wasn't it funny? The two whose spouses may be messing with somebody else are feeling that way. Zach could have been messing with at this time. Bao, she's like, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. I don't want to hear the Zach and Bao conversation. And Michaela and Gil was like, you know what? I don't want to hear the Mirla and Johnny conversation. So guess what? We're gonna bounce together. Let's leave. And they both never came back to the set, which is funny. If you ever watch Ryan always makes a slick comments, the one hitter quitters, as I want to call it. He was like, yo, come on, can we keep going without them? Let's go. And
Brett was like, no, we can't keep going without. Oh, but Johnny did his thing too, because Johnny said, oh, I guess he didn't like that question. And Rachel was like, cut it out, Johnny. And he kind of looked like, what?
Yeah,
but,
he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that whole part right there, that was so ugly to me.
That's high school stuff.
I wanted to say before, let's touch on this real quick, because before Gil left, when they talked about the social media thing, that's when Ryan was talking about him chirping back at people, and so the question was, how you had people slipping in your DMs, and Gil was like, yeah, my DM's been blowing up, and he was like, but it's been just as many men as it women, and everybody was like, he was like, no, not like that. It's guys like kind of be encouraging and understanding. He was getting that.
Guarantee he had nothing, because guarantee he had guys say, dog, you real patient, because my wife acted like that too, or my girl act like that, and you know what, I'm taking advice from you, and I'm handling business, I'm learning from you on how to handle someone who is feverish.
Yeah. And then they got a little chuckle. It's like, okay, what's the craziest DM that you got? And Gil was like, it's a lady that sends me a message every week, like clockwork, about 8:30, 9 o'clock after the show's gone off, and let me know if it doesn't work out. I'm a flight away. She doesn't deserve you. And we're really meant to be together, y'all. She's not the one for you. And he was like, that takes a lot of dedication.
Is it one of y'all?
You dedicate.
Let me know if it's one.
It's not me.
If it's one, it's not Jackie. We know she said she's talking about Gil's DMs last week. It's not her. Is it one of y'all slipping into Gil's DMs talking about every week? Sending about 11, 12 messages every
I know
week?
this much. If they were slipping in his DMs before, after this, they really are there. Because Gil was wearing that beard, sir. Okay? Wearing that beard. With the little bit of gray in it, too.
I got a little bit of gray right there.
I mean, to the point where I'm going to be just as real with you. To our youngest daughter.
Yeah.
She's only 8. We're watching, and she comes out, and she's like, who's that? Who's that with the beard? Where's Gil? I was like, that's Gil. She was like, with the beard?
With the beard.
Oh.
She's more fascinated that he has a beard, because he has.
But she was like, like, wow, look at Gil.
Yeah, y'all just.
I got the biggest kick out of that. I was
she
like,
thought it was cute.
I was like, that's my daughter.
She ate. Yo.
But yeah,
it's a mess. It's crazy. They leave. Obviously, they talk about, back to the women. The women said that Mirla's so nice and so sweet that she'll get the clothes off her back. They said she's not as diva-ish as people think she is, and there's nothing wrong with her liking nice stuff. Michaela's like, if you make the money, girl, spend your money. We're going to do a whole video on that because these women have their whole different view of what Mirla should be doing with her money, and Gil shouldn't have to say. So they were not surprised that they broke up.
I wish they had I wish they had dealt with the conversation that Gil had with his mother. Mm-hmm. Because to Michaela's point, if you make the money, yeah, you should be able to spend it, but you're not going to spend it at my expense.
Yeah.
Again, want me to pay all the bills, and my whole paycheck go to rent and water and utilities and cable and all like that, and you out having a freaking shopping spree. No. So you make the money, you can't spend it how you want to, but again, not at my expense.
She said she takes care of everything.
So I wish they had talked about, but I wish they had talked about that. But, yeah.
Kevin wished everybody well. He said, he wished them well in their future endeavors. He talks about, where are they now, which we're going to review a little bit later. And he just tell everybody, to keep it up and be happy with themselves. And Kevin, I think Kevin did a good job this year. I think he asked the right questions. Oh, this is the last thing we need to touch on before we roll out. He asked a question to Jose. Asked the question to Jose. There's a lot of rumors.
Again, piggybacking off of the social media thing.
Jose, some people believe that you are the wrong show. And that you may not need you shouldn't be dating Rachel. There's some other people out there. Now, I got a kick out of it.
Kevin said it like that, like real inconspicuous.
Real PC. But here's Michaela and her loud self. Oh, my gaydar is good. I don't get that at all. Yeah,
she was like, I don't get that from you. And Jose answered the question without answering the question. He was like, listen, I don't know where they get that from. They feel like I'm really on the other team. I can't remember exactly how he said it, but first of all, I thought it was hilarious.
That he asked
what was hilarious is kind of shocking. I was like, did we really just pull the rumor mill out and how people try to accuse, because they never said it straight out. I'm going to say it. It was people saying that Jose was actually gay.
Yeah.
He's gay.
They thought he was playing for the other team.
Yeah, and he was like, no, I'm not.
And then people said they couldn't see it. They couldn't see it. I'm not asking y'all if y'all saw it or not. Ain't none of my business. But if you saw it, just leave a comment in the comment
section. He said, I don't know. I don't know where people got that from. But is that the part that had my mouth open?
Yes.
Because I was like stuck. Like, I cannot believe.
Kevin asked it. He asked the question. I thought it was hilarious that he asked it. I didn't think they were going to ask that question. Because, remember, they didn't ask the question last season because some people thought Chris was that way, too.
Well, I mean, he had them skinny jeans on looking like lady legs.
You can see now they're starting to play more into, after the reunion, after the show airs a little bit, they're playing more of the social media into it to get more interaction from the fans, us, the fans. Hey, let us know what you thought of this season of Married at First Sight. Let us know what you thought of the reunion. We make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell notification. We didn't say that earlier. Make sure you don't miss any of our reviews. Have a great Thanksgiving. Have you watched this before Thanksgiving or you watching this on Thanksgiving Day? Enjoy your family. Have a great Thanksgiving with your family members. Once again, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Look out for some more reviews from this episode of Married at First Sight and for this season at Married at First Sight as well. Didn't mean to keep you much longer. Thank you guys for joining us at this time of night. So we have to go do some more cooking.
Yeah, I have to do some more cooking.
No, I have to do some cooking too. I have to go marinate my turkeys, deep frying 2 turkeys tomorrow. So
again, he's doing his cooking tomorrow. I'm doing mine.
I'm prepping
tonight.
I'm prepping tonight, and I'm staying up with you to prep tonight. We're gonna help you. I gotta peel these potatoes for real mashed potatoes.
That ain't for me because I don't want no mashed potatoes. That's you and your daughter.
I'm a real mashed potato person. Forget instant potatoes. I'll peel me some potatoes. to make some mashed potatoes, make you slap your mama. Anyway, thank y'all for watching us. We'll catch you guys down the road. Again, have a good Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Once again, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.